Todd, his girlfriend Kirsten, and best friend Faber with their dog are in the park together. They are holding their SAT results, and they open it together at the count of 3, and they're all passed, but Faber passed excellently well. With perfect scores, Kirsten tells Todd that this means that they can be in Bozing together, and he kisses her affectionately. Faber, feeling left out in the kiss, asks the dog why it never returns his calls. Mr. Moo is in class with calculus test results. He tells the class Cullis is not for wimps, and 28% of the class did not pass as he hands over the test, dissing them one after the other. He says that he's seen squirrels score higher on tests. He tells Faye that his result is making everyone look bad, while he tells Todd, who had a C- that he was flying high till he hit an air pocket and that he should see him after class. After class, Mr. Mueller tells Todd to take his form back, that he won't be recommending him for Harvard anymore. Todd interjects that it's just one bad grade. Mr. Mueller says a lot of people apply to Harvard and don't get in, so he should take his form and use the door. Todd takes his form, promising that he will get his grades up. Todd is by a lake drawing a heavy object, hitting Mr. Mew on his head. Vissy approaches at the other end and screams loudly. Todd stands to meet her, and she apologizes that she really needs to scream out loud. Todd says he understands, and that he does the same and is about to speak to her, but she's gone at a party. Todd forces Faye to speak to the lady. He likes Faber, nervously tells the lady Kim that she is looking superb tonight. She ignores him and goes to greet her other friends. Babe tells Todd that doesn't know that when he's around girls he likes. He turned into Greg Brady with better hair. Siren takes Todd outside. She's feeling cold, and they use a duvet to cover up. Faye is being chased by a nun who likes him at the party. He stops Todd's car and shouts at him to drive on their way. They see Vicky with a '66 Corvette Stingray having car issues, and they stop to help her by giving her a ride. She says angrily in the car that what kind of a husband doesn't carry an extra spare tire. They stop by at a cafe to have ice cream, and she tells them after making a phone call that they're sending a tow truck. She licks them ice cream hungrily and says she loves ice cream, but hasn't had it in ages. They ask her what she does, and she says music, studying, and sculpting. She pays for the ice cream, while Faber and Todd offer to pay the tip, and they take their leave in the car. Todd asks her if she knows calculus, and she says yes, and he begs her that if he doesn't pass calculus, his life will be over. Faye offers to teach him, and he swerves the car angrily and tells him that it was a squirrel that caused it. They drop her off, and she tells Todd she will think on tutoring him calculus. Vicky enters the house, and her husband, who is Mr. Mueller, asks where she's been. Mr. Boomer tells Todd that he's disappointed at his results, and our Harvard dream that they have worked so hard for is slipping through his fingers. Todd promises he will do better, and he will get a cheer, and his father agrees. Todd is in the lake romancing Vicky, and he gets shot by a man claiming he's Vicky's husband. Todd wakes up realizing it's just a dream act. Lunch break, Todd tells Faye excitedly that Vicky called at the lab. Kirsten apologizes to Todd for overreacting, and he should just give her a little more time to be ready. There's a knock at the Boomers' home. Mr. Boomer goes out to the door, and he's surprised at the beauty that introduced herself as Todd's tutor. He tells his wife Elaine to come check out their son's tutor. Mr. Boomer asks Todd aside if Vicky knew anything about calculus, and he tells his father that he can test her by asking anything. Mary Boomer picks the textbook and asks Vicky a calculus question, and she gives him the right answer. He's shocked, and he leaves the house with his wife outside. Elaine tells Mr. Boomer that she was expecting someone a little bit more mature, and he replied that Todd will work his butt off to impress a woman like that. Elaine asks if he feels that she's attractive, and he says no, that he's thinking of Todd's perspective. After lessons are over, Vicky asks what Todd does, and he says that he draws comics for the school paper. She tells him that's really great, and she tells him that she has to leave, that he should give her a call when he's done with the next chapter, and she leaves. Mr. Moo hands over the test and noted that Todd is getting better, as he had a B+ this time around. Todd calls Vicky and tells her the good news. He tells her that they should meet up tonight, and she agrees. Kieran meets Todd and shows her his test results, and she says his tutor seems to be effective. He describes Vichy to Kirsten as ugly, fat, and white foam coming out of her mouth. Khan asks Todd if they will hang out tonight, and he tells her no, that he has to study, and he's a man on a mission. Todd is drawing Vicky, and Vicky enters the room after a slight knock. He throws the drawing book aside. She admires his art, and he also gives her the drawing she loved most. Khan hangs out with Faye at the diner. Since Todd is busy, Todd asks Vicky for a ride to the diner. He sees her art in the car on their way home, and he says that he would like to see more of her art, and she says that she'll think about it. Getting to the diner, Faber introduces Vicky to Kieran as Todd's tutor. She angrily leaves because Todd lied to her that his tier isn't attacked. Reactive Todd and his father practice how Todd will be interviewed for Harvard, and when his father asks what his passions are, he tells his father he really loves a woman's oranges, especially when they're huge, and when he notices his father isn't finding it funny, he says he's passionate about drawing. Vicky invites Todd over to a house to show him her art. As he requested, he admires her art, and she tells him that her husband doesn't feel the same way he feels about the art Vicky gives Todd a present for allowing her to chew to him while licking ice cream. Vicky asks Todd what the fascination of Harvard is all about since he's passionate about drawing, and he tells her see who is talking, and she replies touch they rub ice cream on each other while playing and they have a hormone sandwich talk. Tells Vicky that he never knew he will say this, but he really loves math, and she throws a pillow at him. Todd tells Faye he banged Vicky and doesn't feel bad about it because her husband doesn't treat her right. He leaves Faye, opens the door, and Kirsten is there listening. She hugs for crying at lunch break. Todd tries to sit beside Kirsten, but she stands up. He rushes to her and asks what the problem is, and she shouts the hearing of the whole school that he slept with his tutor. Todd attacks Faye for telling Kieran, but Faye tells him she was listening to the conversation the night he came over. They start arguing, and then Mr. Mueller asks him to go outside and watch his car, that it isn't the Towway. They go outside and see the 66 Corvette Stingray car and realizes that Miss Mueller is Vicky's husband. Fayab tells Todd he won't be getting Harvard recommendation now. Todd confronts Vicky in her house for not telling him that she was Mr. Moose, and Mr. Mueller gets home. Todd hides, and when Mr. Mueller is distracted, T runs out. Mr. Mueller tells Vicky he wants to borrow her typewriter. There's a Todd Boomer. He wants to write a Harvard recommendation, for Mr. Boomer sees that Todd is worried, and he tells him he's shocked. Old and worry about his Harvard interview tomorrow. Todd tells his father that this is the least of his worries, that he ate the berries of someone's wife, and he is afraid that might kill him, and his father said he should face up to it, that the longer he waits, the worse he can get. Mr. Mueller tells Toddy he's giving him the Harvard recommendation, and he found his drawing in his house, and that he knows Vicky's been tutoring him, and he's glad about it. Todd tells Mr. Mueller that he dislikes the way he speaks to his students, and that his wife taught him that. And Mr. Mueller replies that Vicky may be good with math, but he wouldn't take any life lessons from her. Mr. Mueller asks if Todd slept with his wife, and he said yes and walked out. Mr. Muo rushes home to confront his wife for clapping to Todd. Starts throwing tantrums. Todd rushes in, and Mr. M punches him in the face. Todd apologizes to Vicky, and she says that she's actually grateful, and that now she's going to try New York, and she hands him the heart Vard recommendation. He tells her his interview is by 4, and he kisses her and rushes off, that he'll visit her when she's in New York. Todd blows off his interview at Harvard. He realizes that he's not interested in going to Harvard anymore. He goes home and tells his parents he's not interested in Harvard anymore, and that he would like to apply to an art school, and he just realized